Hi folks, it's Paul from the series Dancing with Cancer. As I've indicated a little while ago in one of the other videos, I didn't really start these videos from the beginning, even the beginning of the story about cancer, so I thought tonight was the time to put that wrong right. Um, so I'll rewind just a little bit. Probably started, well, a few months ago now in truth, but that's only because things add up now that didn't at the time. I'd had small signs of niggly coughs coming and going, um, bits of sore throats, but nothing substantial. My throat and swallowing becoming a bit tired when I was eating. Um, and probably one of the most noticeable signs was that I would read to my wife quite often, read from books that we were going through. And I'll explain why I was reading to her in another video when I talk about her more particularly. But I get halfway through a chapter, um, and my throat would get so sore, I'd have to stop reading. That was probably the first proper sign, although I didn't see it as such at the time. I thought it was just, I don't know, something to do with a throat infection, quite frankly. Um, and I was reading quite a lot. We were well and truly into a series of books in the series around the tattooist of Auschwitz, which were very interesting. Um, then at the end of August, I was away for Creamfields Festival. Had an absolute blast. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, saw lots of my favourite artists. Went to my favourite venues within Creamfields. Met lots of people. And had a great time. And I went straight from there to a pickleball festival in North Wales. Also brilliant. But for a whole host of reasons, the food options weren't great in and around where I was staying. And I ate a lot of crap. And for the first time, I was finding that I was having trouble swallowing, particularly dry food, which was the first proper alarm bells. As it happened, I already had a routine GP appointment booked when I come back from North Wales for annual boring stuff. Um, and I decided I would speak to my GP about the symptoms I was experiencing. And like most of us, I Googled beforehand. Um, and every time I Googled the symptoms, even looking on the most reputable sites, they were all suggesting that I would need to get tested for throat cancer. So when I eventually got to the GP and I sat and explained to him my symptoms, I wasn't at all shocked when he said, "Right, we're going to need to get you checked out for the possibility of throat cancer. You'll be on an urgent cancer pathway," which was quite an interesting thing to hear. And in effect, what it meant was the journey over the next 6 weeks was already mapped out for me. Very quickly, within days, I had an appointment to see an ENT consultant here in the Isle of Man. It was absolutely brilliant. I was terrified because I knew I was going to be having a nasal endoscopy. I even managed to get my GP to give me a diazepam to try and calm me down for what was to come. I was also given a nasal anaesthetic on the day. Actually, the procedure was no problem whatsoever, thanks to the amazing consultant, and perhaps the other bits and things I'd done as well. In fact, it was so amazing that he had sat down and was starting to write up his notes before I'd opened my eyes and realised he'd finished. He showed me the picture, if you like, of what he'd seen, indicated that he thought it was extremely unlikely that I had throat cancer, but there was definitely an issue with my tongue, and possibly tonsil tissue, which I was quite surprised about because I knew I'd had my tonsils out when I was about 7. He said he needed me to come back in for a general anaesthetic and have a full endoscopy, camera down my throat, basically. So that was booked for about a week. Beyond then, I didn't actually feel particularly frightened for that one, albeit that I'm a very anxious person at times these days. And that's because they were going to knock me out for it. And as I said to him at the time, do what the hell you like while I'm out. So I was in, had the full endoscopy, no problem whatsoever, biopsies taken. And a week or so later, I was back seeing the consultant for the results. And it was at that point in time that I first had the confirmation that I had oropharyngeal cancer. The consultant assured me that everything would be done and would happen quickly, assured me that there was a pretty good prognosis, gave me a broad outline of what the treatment would be likely to be, and indicated that I would be referred to the Aintree Elective Care Centre, initially in Liverpool, to be seen by the cancer teams. And as you know from some of the other videos that I've produced so far, that's exactly what's happened. The broad outline of expected treatment he gave me is exactly what I believe I'm going to be scheduled for, what everybody has told me I'm going to be scheduled for up to now. All of that happened well within 6 weeks, actually, very quickly. I just want to talk about that, actually, and how that felt. As I've said previously, the emotional side of things, the anger, the terror, the fear, didn't really hit me, still hasn't really hit me, quite frankly. Some of that was because I was so terrified of the dental stuff that actually the cancer stuff to come, it didn't seem that bad, and also was in the distance. But once things started to happen, all these appointments started to happen, and all happened very quickly. One part of me was extremely reassured by that and happy that it was happening quickly. And another part of me was actually quite worried and frightened by it. Because in my head I was saying to myself, well, is it that bloody serious that they've got to move that quickly? And there's probably an element of truth in that. But as I've explained in some of these videos when I've been talking about clinics and resilience and stuff like that, we don't think very logically when we're hit with a crisis. Or I certainly don't anyway. You start imagining all the worst things. So that's just a little bit about the journey that got me into where I am now. And I suppose the one message I would like to pass on as part of that, apart from the information itself, is that I suppose if I've got one regret, it's that I didn't pick up the signs and get them checked out sooner. Albeit I'm operating with hindsight now and realising that some of the things that have been happening were the early warning signs, and I didn't realise that at the time. I don't think I was just being a bloke and avoiding stuff, although I'm very good at that in truth. So I just want to tell you about the journey and encourage any of you out there with even some of the most minor issues that are just giving you that little tiny niggle. Get them checked out. Get them checked out as soon as possible. And if they're checked out and everything is fine, then happy days. And if it's not, things will start to happen quickly and you'll have a much better chance of a better outcome. So that's my message for today. Speak to you all again soon. Bye for now, from Paul from the series Dancing with Cancer.